This is 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 per month, and I think that these methods are all pretty realistic that anybody can do. But I will preface this and say that your first priority if you want to make more money is to see if you can do it at your main job first, and if not, then one of these could help. On average, there are 15,790 fires caused each year by washing and drying machines, but the bulk of the fires, 92%, occur due to dryers. This causes over $238 million worth of property damage every single year. According to the National Fire Protection Association, 32% of these fires are caused by dryer ducts and vents that are clogged with lint. And cleaning them is a task that is neglected by all the homeowners that own a home with these dryer ducts, and none of them even ever think to themselves, this is a fire hazard. Basically what happens is that the lint from your dryer gets captured in the lint tray, but any excess lint that doesn't get captured by that lint tray goes into the inner ducts of your dryer. And basically there is a dryer duct that connects from your dryer to the exterior of your home. This is where you come in, and you'd be pretty surprised to find out that many people are willing to pay you really good money to come by their home and clean out their dryer ducts and vents. And this is a service that is really in demand because every home has a washer and dryer, unless of course you live in New York where maybe only the top 1% have a washer and dryer in unit. In terms of how much money you can make for this service, I've seen people on Nextdoor charging between $60 and $175 per cleaning. And that's pretty good, and it's also a really easy sell considering the fact that the downside is that your house catches on fire, and so many people are willing to pay for this service. All you need to get started is one of these dryer duct cleaning kits. This one is from Home Depot for relatively cheap, or you can find something on Amazon. If you want to take this a step further, what you're going to want to get is something called a shop vac. It's basically this vacuum that cleans out all of the lint while you're removing it from the duct or while you're unclogging it from the duct, and they usually go for around $129. Now, in terms of exact tutorials on how to do this service, there are plenty of YouTube tutorials online that you can search up, and I can leave a link for one down below for you guys. That's really easy to follow, and you can see that this type of service might take you between 1 and 2 hours per cleaning. After you have all your materials, then you're gonna have to find some customers, and for this I would recommend a local bulletin board. Like if you have a grocery store near you, there's usually a bulletin board where you can advertise your services for free, or you could try a website like Nextdoor, Craigslist, or a Facebook group of your neighborhood, and that way you're getting free marketing. It's reasonable to make an extra $1,000 per month from this. If we estimate that you charge $70 per cleaning and each house takes you about 2 hours to clean, then you just need a few houses per week in order to get to that $1,000 number. Now, if you don't want to perform manual labor of any kind, then something you can do instead is something like short form video editing. In 2024, the entire advertising world, as well as individuals as creators, are taking advantage of short form video, and it's even more prevalent than in 2023. According to a HubSpot survey, short form video has the highest ROI of any marketing trend and will remain popular throughout the year. And if we just look at the statistics around how much ad revenue has grown in the past 5 years, we can see that the trend clearly favors TikTok, Instagram, and funny enough, LinkedIn. I've personally started to see videos pop up on my LinkedIn feeds, and I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes more of a thing this year. So the market is growing, and one easy way to get involved is to start short form video editing for clients, and you can typically charge between $40 and $60 per hour for this service. Learning how to edit short form content isn't an impossible task either. I taught myself everything I know from YouTube tutorials online, and you could probably learn it in a weekend, or if you just experiment with editing your own content yourself, you're gonna get a lot better. In terms of getting clients, let's actually listen to a clip from Mr. Beast's manager. His name is Reed, and he's the owner of Night Media, and on a recent podcast, he summed up how he would go about finding new clients in 2024.
Lead with your work if you think you're really good at what you do. Even in the editing example, you might just want to edit a video for them or edit 5 shorts for them. So I have a person that edits a lot of shorts that I do on Instagram and Twitter. I met him because I saw work that he had sent stuff, people that worked in my company. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Like, who did this? And it was like, oh, this person that you should meet. That's how he got hired, right? And so I just think like lead with your work. And if you're confident and you think that you have really good work and you've taken classes and you've really improved your editing and all that, like that's what you should lead with.
I love what Reed is saying here. One of the best ways to find a new client is to reach out to them in a cold DM, either on Twitter, email, or Instagram, and just show that you have competency in your craft. This type of audition is a really great way to stand out, especially if you're new, and it's in fact how I got some of my editors for this channel. And I know personally that many other creators I talk to, they'd be willing to pay $40 to $60 an hour for editing services. Assuming Assuming you finish a short form video edit in about 2 hours, and if you charge $40 to $60 an hour, that means you can make between $80 and $120 per video that you edit. And I know that this is a fair rate because I myself actually pay this rate when it comes to my short form video edits. I think the best part is that this type of opportunity can actually lead to more opportunities down the road. Perhaps in the future you hire a friend and all of a sudden you have an agency that specializes in short form content editing. The idea here is that we're finding a skill that's in demand. We're pairing it with the fact that we're willing to put in the time to learn this skill, and it's not that hard to learn. Then we're putting together the pieces, and then just like that, we're gonna be able to make an extra $1,000 per month pretty easily. All right, the next method to make an extra $1,000 per month isn't so much of a method, but it's actually a philosophy. And that is that we wanna focus on anything or any service that helps people buy back their time. When people have discretionary income, they usually wanna spend it on things that make their lives easier, and that's where you can step in. So right now, think about all the activities and things that people don't really wanna prioritize in their lives. It could be gardening or lawn mowing, cleaning pools, washing and detailing cars, babysitting, dog sitting, dropping off or picking up laundry, etc. All of these types of tasks are things that people are willing to pay for in order to buy back their time, and even the dryer duct cleaning example from earlier could be a version of this. One of the best parts of having a service-based method of income is that oftentimes you can bundle services together. So for example, let's say you're really good at cleaning pools and that's your main gig. Perhaps you could learn how to clean gutters as well, and then you can sell that service bundle to a certain client. Now, once you've used some of these methods so far in today's video to earn some extra money, you probably want to invest that money, which actually brings me to a special announcement that I have for this video today, which is that I'm opening up a free Discord community. It's a completely free place where viewers of this channel like you and other readers of Hump Days, my newsletter, can gather and talk about finance, investing, and making money. There's also going to be a channel where you can ask me any questions, and once a week I'm going to go in there and answer all of the questions that have been asked of me, hopefully. And so the link for that will be in the description below. It's completely free to check out, and I hope to see you guys in there. The next method to make an extra $1,000 per month is tutoring or coaching. Based on your own skills or knowledge of a certain subject, what you can do is start to tutor or coach said students. Now, these students will pay a pretty hefty rate for tutoring coaching services. Oftentimes it can range between $30 to $100 per hour. In the US, there are websites like tutors.com or tutorme.com. That's where there are a lot of students between K and 12, so kindergarten and 12th grade, they're looking for your services. Alternatively, if you have a skill like you're a really good tennis player, you could really teach someone else to be a better tennis player by perhaps hitting with them or perhaps giving them lessons. And that way it could be really lucrative if you're willing to dedicate a few hours per week to that. The best part about tutoring, in my opinion, is the flexibility. As long as you and the other party agree on a said time, then you can kind of set your own schedule and operate on your own terms. The way you can really level up this method though is that if you turn your tutoring session, or perhaps in our example tennis coaching, you make it a semi-private workshop or a semi-private class. Instead of teaching one person at say $40 per hour, maybe you have that person get a friend, and then both of them will pay you $30 per hour, so they both pay a little bit less, but your time is now worth $60 an hour because both of those people are paying you $30 each. The best part about all this is I actually find tutoring or coaching quite fulfilling, especially if you find joy in seeing other people's progress. And don't think you have to be an expert in a said skill in order to tutor or coach anybody. As long as you're a few steps ahead of wherever your client is, then technically you could tutor them. For example, I'm pretty average at Photoshop, but I know more than a beginner would, so I'm pretty comfortable in creating a lesson plan and kind of showing some beginner the lay of the land on Photoshop, if you will, and therefore I could probably teach someone new how to use Photoshop and charge for that service. The next method to earn some extra income on the side, especially if you enjoy treasure hunting or even shopping, is something called thrift store flipping. This was actually a method that I learned about a year ago from someone who owned their own thrift shop for a video. She said she would go to a Goodwill or similar type of thrift store and look for specific clothing articles that she knew that she could resell. For example, a t-shirt from Goodwill typically costs $2.99, and if you find a good or niche design, you could easily resell that same t-shirt on something like an Etsy, an eBay, a Depop, or a Poshmark for sometimes close to 80 or 90% profit margins. In fact, she was able to start her entire business and her whole thrift store empire by doing that exact method. She would go to Goodwill's, buy up a bunch of stock and inventory, and then resell them on flea markets on the weekends. The downside of this method is that it can get super laborious, especially if you don't like shopping. Like me personally, I don't know if I could do this on a 24/7 basis. However, I do have some friends that get a huge dopamine rush whenever they find a hidden gem and they're able to sell it for, let's say, a 10x profit. Another service-based method that I want to bring up today is power washing. It's not as common as mowing lawns or cleaning windows, but it is one that is unique and profitable. What you want to do is create some demand first for this service, and then once you have that demand and you know it needs to be fulfilled, then you can go rent a power washer, and that way you can make the economics make sense for you. In order to get clients, one of the best things that you can do is create flyers and then just drop them off at different storefronts, businesses, and even homes that you think might need power washing. If you drop off 500 flyers in your local town and book all of your appointments for, let's say, Saturday or Sunday, then you're going to be able to do this on the side even if you have a main job already. So say you drop off 500 flyers at a 1% conversion rate. In theory, you're going to be able to get 5 clients for the next weekend, hopefully. And if that doesn't work out, you can still post for free on groups like Nextdoor, Facebook groups, as well as Craigslist. Now, once you have some clients that actually want some power washing done, what you're going to do next is go rent the power washer or even buy the power washer if it's cheap enough and you have that capital. So oftentimes just go to a Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store, and they often have power washers for sale. For example, at Home Depot, you can rent a power washer for about $41 per day, and typically power washing services are charged by the square foot. So if you can find some driveways to pressure wash that are, say, 100 square feet or even business storefronts, and you charge $80 per 100 square feet, which is entirely reasonable, then you could make up for the cost of the entire power washer in that one job alone. I would probably stick to marketing to businesses only because businesses typically have bigger budgets to work with, and they probably see the value in having a really clean storefront because that probably drives more foot traffic to their store. Another option you can do to get customers is that whenever a new business opens in your area, go to them and see if you can wash their storefront for free. That way you build a relationship with them and you can see if you can sign them on as a long-term client. So this may take some capital and some initial time up front, but the idea is that we're just trying to secure enough clients so that we're making about $200 to $250 per week in order to get that extra $1,000 per month. The 7th method I have for you guys today is to become a writer, either an SEO writer or a copywriter or any type of content writer for a business. Having good content on a website or even in advertisements is extremely valuable to a business because you're going to be able to unlock more revenue for them in the form of more traffic. The best example I can give you is that if you're writing a blog post for search engine optimization or SEO for, say, a small furniture store, that furniture store could all of a sudden start to rank higher in your local area whenever someone searches for, let's say, new couch or new dining room table. This is because Google ranks websites and articles based on factors such as if they match keywords, content relevancy, as well as content quality. So by becoming a content writer for that business, you're helping them become more authoritative online, and what that is going to translate to is just a lot more value for that business, and that's a skill that you can sell to any business out there. If you don't want to work with businesses, you can also approach creators as well. I know many creators that are looking for script writing in particular, as well as copywriting for their websites. In the past, I've even hired people to help me research scripts, and I've paid them between $200 and $300 per script. And I've even heard of some creators even willing to pay up to $1,000 per script as long as it's written word for word in their voice, which is usually a little bit easier said than done. Of course, getting that type of opportunity is a lot harder, but I'm confident that as long as you're persistent and you demonstrate value to that business or that creator, you'll be able to land a writing gig and also get paid handsomely for it. If you're looking for a way to get clients, perhaps reference what Mr. Beast's manager said in this video, which is to send a cold DM, maybe even have the whole draft written up for them, and that way you're demonstrating your value. It's setting you apart from everyone else on the internet and can lead to a bunch of great new opportunities. All right, make sure to check out my free Discord. That'll be linked down below. I can't wait to see you in there. And in the meantime, check out my next video on how to go from 0 to 100K in a single year. I'll put it up right here, and I will see you guys in the next video or in that video. Peace.